let's head on over to Nexus Mods. We're going to be installing the following mods: Static Mesh Improvement Mod, Quality Add-on, a little bit of an upgrade for our Static Mesh Improvement Mod, fixing a few of the extra details, Eeks Mountain Flowers SSE, a mod that has been around for quite some time and still works to this day. A nice addition for our detailed landscapes. In the Files section, the higher the resolution, the more demand on the PC. Eeks Renthal Flora Collection. In the Files section, we're going to download version 1 and not version 1.2. Version 1.2 will cause problems with the latest Skyrim update, so make sure you download version 1. Vedosbrum Regions, an overhaul of the Skyrim grass. Rustic Clutter Collection, a well-known mod adding to the items scattered across Skyrim. Again, download the texture in the quality you desire. High Poly Project. This will increase the quality of the textures in the game. Now head on over to MO2. Visit the Downloads tab. Once these have downloaded, we can begin installing. Now your window may look a little different to mine here, because I have uninstalled the mods to reinstall them for the purpose of this video. Let's start with Eeks Mountain Flowers. Double click to install. Now Eeks Floral Collection. And Vedosbrum Grass Overhaul. A pop-up window will appear. Select Mod Organizer 2 as your mod manager. Be sure to click Full Install. Select the ENB option. Choose your quality. Remember, the higher the quality, the more demanding. Same with the grass. Choose your density based on what your PC can handle. Click Install. Now for Rustic Clutter Collection. Now our Static Mesh Improvement Mod Quality Add-on. And our High Poly project. Select Install Everything and click Install. Now remember to enable these mods by checking the box to the left of the mod names. Now let's move these into position. Our High Poly project will go at the top of the Visual and Atmosphere category. The Rustic Clutter Collection beneath it. The reason for this is to ensure that High Poly Project replaces all the textures used by all the following mods. Our Static Mesh Improvement Mod Quality Add-on will go just beneath Static Mesh Improvement. The remaining 3 you can select together and move them up under Plants and Foliage. Double check your mod priority to ensure that it is the same as what is displayed on screen. Now it's time to sort our plugins. Visit the Plugins tab and click Sort. This will run loot. Scroll to the bottom of the page. As you can see, we've got a prompt here for landscape fixes for grass mods. This does fix a problem where grass can grow in places where it shouldn't in-game. However, this currently is not suitable for the latest build of Skyrim, and due to it causing errors, I've decided to leave it out for now. You can now launch Skyrim through SKSE. If we take a look here, you will see the flowers scattered about the grass, a little bit of colour to bring the vibrance of your game to life. If you're enjoying this so far, please feel free to subscribe. Plenty more tutorials on their way. So let's move on to stage 2. Let's head on back to Nexus Mods. Our first is SSE engine fixes. Now this comes in 2 parts. We will need to download both parts, and the second part is installed manually. We'll go through that in just a moment. But this in itself is currently not working correctly with the latest build of Skyrim. We will address that in a moment. Ensure you download part 1 and part 2 and check which version it is you're downloading it for. To fix our problem with engine fixes, SSE engine fixes modified TOML file. Now this is specifically for use with our game version. Next, sound record distributor. This will work behind the scenes. Unofficial high definition audio project. This does not replace anything different, but it does take all of the original dialogue files and music files and change them out for high definition versions of the exact same file. This comes in 3 parts, and as you can probably expect, the file sizes are quite large. So give yourself some time to download these. Whilst they're downloading, go and grab yourself a brew. It's the perfect time for it. Next we have Immersive Sounds Compendium. This is a vast selection of Foley sounds, which replace the in-game sounds. Next we have Audio Overhaul for Skyrim SE. Similar to that of Immersive Sounds, it exchanges certain sounds in the game for more realistic ones and multiple alternatives so you don't hear the same sound multiple times. Now you might wonder why you're installing 2 overhauls. These 2 do overlap, however, they cover the majority of different areas of the sounds in the game. Because of this, we need to make sure they're compatible together. So we will need Audio Overhaul Immersive Sounds Integration. This will allow us to have immersive sounds and audio overhaul running next to each other. Now back in Mod Organizer 2, once those files are downloaded, we can begin installing. We'll start with the SSE engine fixes. Install the plugin part 1, and now open our Skyrim Modding Hub folder, and beside it our Downloads folder. Use our link to the game directory, and in the Downloads folder, right-click on the SSE Engine Fixes 7-zip file, and go to 7-zip Extract to its own folder. Open the newly extracted folder and select the 3 files. Now drag and drop these into our game directory. That's part 2 of SSE engine fixes. You can close out of both these windows and go back into Mod Organizer. Now we want to install the modified TOML file to allow engine fixes to work with version 1.6.1170. Ensure you enable these 2. As you will see, the modified file is overwriting elements from the engine fixes mod. Now let's take these 2 and drag them into position. We want to put them under bug fixes and game patches. We want them to load relatively early on, to ensure that everything that uses them is working correctly. Now let's install our unofficial high-definition audio project. The first file will be labeled Music, followed by Voices Part 1 and Part 2. When you double-click to install, you will notice that they are given the same name, and it will prompt you to replace or amend. I suggest going for an abbreviation and just putting Part 1, Part 2. With our unofficial HD overhaul of the audio, because these files are just high-definition versions of the original game files, we want to use these as a base that any other overhauls will work off of. Because of this, these files can go right at the beginning of your mod priority. As you can see, we place these right beneath our content picker to be loaded in with the original game files. Now let's install our sound record distributor. Then our audio overhaul for Skyrim. A pop-up window will appear. As you can see, we now have our sound record distributor and engine fixes installed. Click Install. Now for our immersive sounds compendium. Now the options provided here are down to personal preference. Which one you select is entirely up to you. Choose the options you wish and click Next. When you're happy with your choices, click Install. Now for our compatibility patch, which will allow us to run audio overhaul and immersive sounds side by side. Enable the mods in the checkboxes to the left. Now let's move them into position. Our sound record distributor will go up at the top just before USSEP. With our overhaul for audio, you can select all three in this particular order and move them up under Sound and Audio Effects. You will see in the name, the version number is incorrect, as it is 4.1.3 that we have downloaded. It is not important to change the name, but can help keep you organized. Now to our plugins tab, and let's sort once again. Scroll down to the bottom of the list, check for any notifications it might prompt you with, and close out. Now run Skyrim through SKSE on MO2. Our Skyrim world is really starting to take shape.